Hi,
Hi, this is Maributhu Kanivadi. You are watching HSE Mindset channel for live the 5 steps of risk assessments. 5 steps of risk assessments. The risk assessments is one of the major area in health and safety environment field. So the risk assessments is a basic step every safety officers and safety professionals they must know it. When you know the risk assessments properly, you are a full-fledged safety officer. So wherever you go, you have to find the hazard, risk level and controls. So it's all make you a perfect safety officers. So when you are analyzing the risk assessments, you must have a proper knowledge how to identify the hazards, how to decide to whom be harmed, and how to evaluate the risk, decide its precautions. So these are the things you must know it. The 5 steps of risk assessment easy way, but wherever the risk level, hazard and risk level are in high, you have to be a proper logic application must be there. When you have a proper logic application is there, you can easily make a risk assessments. When you are properly evaluating the risks, it is the one of the major success formula. When you are evaluating the risk in a proper way, that is the success of safety professionals. The risk assessments is a major step for a safety officer. When you know the how to do the risk assessments, it is the first key and foremost step for a safety officer being a qualified safety officer, because the accident prevention is always depends how you are assessing the risk, how you are finding the hazards, how you are making control measures. So the risk assessments is one of the major key area. You must know it, because when you are implementing a risk assessments control measures, you have to find out all the hazards, whether small, minor or major, it's not a matter. But risk assessments, you have to find it all the risk and hazards. The hazards are there everywhere. When you are walking in the uneven surface, it's a hazard. When you are, working at height, is a hazard. When you are handling with the chemicals, is a hazard. Chemical is a hazard. When you are, talking with strangers, It's a psychological hazard because we never know what kind of person he is, what kind of behavior he is. So the stranger also hazard. Then driver. The drivers sometimes emotionally driving, that's also hazard. So when you are in a workplace, you have to find the where is the hazard. You should not miss the single hazards. That is the success of risk assessments. When you are in oil and gas plant, when you are manufacturing plant, when you are chemical industry, you have to see all kinds of hazards in workstation, and sometimes it's an accommodation. So you have to list out the hazards. When you are listing out the hazards, then only you can find the risk and make a risk matrix and put the control measures. These all the thing depends upon the how you are finding the hazards. When you see NIBOSH IGC, International General Certificate, the one part is practical. So IGC 3 before, now maybe changed. But this IGC 3 is a totally practically, they will ask you, the concerned person, the candidate, to go to the particular industry and find out the hazards. So you never know what are the hazards are there in the industry. But being a NIBOSH candidate, they will ask to see the hazards and list. So when you are finding the exact more hazards in that industry, you will get good marks. But you miss a lot of major hazards, then problem in your marks. So that's why finding the hazards is one of the major area. Each and every safety professionals, they must know it. When you have a skills to find out the hazards, so that is the major knowledge you have it. Because you have to practice more. When you are going for a new industry as a safety officer, you must know the where are the hazards are located, how to control the risk, how to make the environment accident free. So environment accident free is mainly because of how you are finding the hazards. So people always they are trying to compromise the people. So when you are going to the operation side or production side, that people, they will always tell them the hazards, okay, these are. But being the safety professionals, you must be a neutral. You have to see in your eye observation power. You have to observe where is the hazards. If the electricity, okay, then electrical live wire is there, that is hazard. When people are working without proper safety equipment in machineries, so that area is a hazard. So you have to find out the hazard when the pathway, the access pathway, exit pathway blocked. So that is a hazard. So you have to find out the hazard. That is the things here. So 5 steps of risk assessments. Number 1 is identifying the hazards. You have to identify the hazards. Machines moving is a hazard. Chemical balance is a hazard. Working height is a hazard. And exposed electrical wires or live wires is a hazard. So you have to develop a skill of finding the best hazards. And the number of hazards is not a matter. You can find numerous hazards, but the problem, you have to solve the hazard, risk, the control measures. If you are finding more hazards, it's good for safety. Sometimes the fire extinguishers, not proper fire extinguishers kept in a place. You know it. Fire extinguishers, different types. Fire A, Fire B, Fire C, you know it. So in that, you cannot, for electricity room, you cannot put the water fire extinguisher. The electricity room is when you put the water into the electricity, you know it, what will happen. So that is also hazard. When you are keeping the water fire extinguisher inside the electrical room or machinery room, is a hazard. So when somebody is using the water fire extinguisher in that electrical room, it will make big accidents. That's why you have to find out the hazards wherever you are looking. Your observation must be in a proper way. You have to observe and you have to find out the hazard. You are an auditor. You are an inspector to find out the hazards. So here is some of the list of hazards. What we have seen: machinery movings, chemical barrels, and working heights, exposed electrical wires. So you already identified the hazards. When you are going to workstation or construction area, in the construction sites, you will see lot of hazards. People are throwing the plastic bottles in the construction site. It's a hazard because the plastic bottle sometimes makes an accident. So, and also it's a harm to the environment. So that's why you have to find out hazards. Identifying the hazards is a big task for safety professionals. Simply you cannot see the books and telling that these are the hazards. It's not a matter. You have to find out the hazards. In this room, the light is okay, but the light is very minimum, darkness more, the lights is a hazard because this minimum light makes your eyes harm. So that's why you have to find out how much lux is there. Lux means the measuring of light intensity. So for reading and working, you must have this much luxus. So the luxus is very minimum, the darkness is there, the working in the darkness is not good for any person. So that's also hazard. So you have to find out the hazards and the chemical barrel and the electrical chemical barrel kept nearby electrical room or MCC room is a hazard. So it's an inflammable material. Any time fire will happen. So you have to find out the hazards wherever you see. So that's why identifying the hazards, machinery moving, chemical barrels, working kite, exposed electricals. Then second one, first you identify the hazards. Second one, decide who might be harmed and how. Decide it. So first you already find the hazards. Then second, what you have to do, who might be harmed, who are getting harmed. Whether it's employees or workers, whether visitors or contractors. Sometimes within authorized area, only workers allowed. So in that time, you have to tell only workers. But in the general area, everyone working, that visitors also coming, contractors also coming. In that case, decide who might be harmed, how the workers, means you have to tell workers because in some processing in the processing area, only workers only allowed means in that case you have to tell workers gets harmed. For that workers you have to make risk assessment and then their control measures. The same thing in reception area, in some of the visiting area, the visitors allowed. So in that case you have to take care visitors also. When you are having the risk assessment, you have to include visitors also in that risk assessments. And also contractor, the company having some small companies having the 1 or 2, 3 contractors, but the big companies, they have oil and gas plant and all, more than 20, 30 contractors, 50 contractors and all there. Small subcontractors are there. So in that case, you have to have a brief risk assessment for contractors also. So that also you have to think it. The risk assessments here is always a very, very, very important topic when you have all kinds of persons you have to include, whether visitor or contractors. Okay. So the second part, they said who might be harmed. Then third part is evaluate risk and decide precautions. Decide on precautions. So risk, this is risk matrix. The low, green, medium, high. So low, medium, high. So that is the risk part. In that risk part, how to make a control measures? First you have to think elimination. Second one is substitution. Third one is engineering control. Fourth one is administration control. The last one is only the PPE, personal protective equipment. So in that case, you have to do the risk assessments. In that risk assessments, how you can do the risk assessments? So, in this risk assessments, you have a CASA, then the risk, then risk level, then you have a control measures, So, what is CASA? We have seen moving machinery parts, moving machinery parts is a hazard. Then what will be risk? There is a risk of then likelihood into probability. Likelihood into severity. So likelihood means this missing parts, the person is working continuously. So it means the likelihood chances is we can say 1 to 5. In this 1 to 5, the chances is 5. Because he is working regularly, daily he is working, likelihood 5. Then what will be the severity? If the machinery parts gets cloth of the person, gets inside, maybe there is a cut, there is a injury. Major, if the machinery is big parts, the major injury. The seriousness you can put 1 to 5. In this 1 to 5, fatality means 5. But in this machinery parts, you can have the serious injury, we can say 4. So it means 4. 5 into 4, 20 is the risk. That is the quantitative risk assessments. Into 4, 20. So here likelihood into severity, that is risk. So in this likelihood, these moving machinery parts are there. The person also continuously working in this machinery part. So the chances is high. That's why 1 to 5 we are giving 5. And also the risk level, likelihood into severity, it means now you have to put severity. The severity is if the missing parts gets inside or anything touched in that person, so there is a chance of serious injuries. That's why we 1 to 5 in that severity, 5 is fatality, 4 is serious injury, 1 is very very minimal injury, very minimum, negligible, 2 somewhat okay, 3 50% injury, 4 serious injury, 5 fatality. In that case, we have a serious injury, I put that's a 4. 5 into 4, 20. So the risk level is 20. Okay, here you have to put the control measures. What control measures? PPE, administrative control, automation, and then rotation of shifts, shift rotation. So all the controls you put. After that, this 20 you have to make it because you made it automation. If any body parts or cloths get inside the machine parts, immediately machine will stop. That kind of engineering control you have it. Because of that one, the probability of this risk reduced. That risk reduced means here 20 become reduced. So here likelihood also you can reduce into how? 1 into 4, the serious injury also reduced. So here 0, 1. So the level is 1 only here. So that is the after control measures, the residual risk level is 1. It means okay. So these control measures you have to effectively implement. So how to make the risk assessment control measures? How you can decide the control measures? You have elimination. First, these miserable parts you have to eliminate. Okay. If the elimination not chances, go for substitution. Some other machine, same machine you go to substitute. Substitution not possible, go for engineering control. As I said here, the missing parts automatically off when the body parts or cloth gets intact or gets pulled or gets stick onto the machines. In that case, automatically the machine stopped. That is the engineering control. Then after that, administrative control, switch changing, and PPE is there, personal protective equipment, already gloves, the coverall, safety helmet, everything is there for their controls. But here, how to decide elimination is totally this machinery parts elimination is not possible. Substitution of some other machine not possible. Then engineering control implemented here. The engineering control, how you implement automation system implemented, that system easily stop in case any body parts gets sticked into the machine, means immediately that moving machine stopped. So that's why this is the risk assessments simple part for moving machinery parts. I hope you all understand about these things. Then after this is the hierarchy. Then you have a record timeline and you have to make implement you have to make a timeline for this hazard, risk, and then risk level, control measures, everything you have to make it in a timeline, record it and implement it. Implementation, fourth stage. Then fifth one, then and there, whenever a new plant coming, or new process coming, or new engineering coming, or new places, when you are changing the places, that time this risk assessments needs to be reviewed and updated. Whenever the new person is coming, or whenever the new engineering method followed, or new machine following, or any other new environmental changing, in that case you have to review and update the risk assessments. So this is the 5 steps of the risk assessments. Everyone must know it. When you know these kind of risk assessments, you can easily, solve any kind of risk assessment everywhere. This is the basic. Whoever the safety officer is not a matter. This is the basic. You have to identify the hazard, decide who might be harmed. Then third one is evaluate risk like this: low, medium, high. This risk is here after control. Before that it's a high risk. 20 means high. 20 to 25 is a high risk. Then we can say this risk level here, you see, low means low, medium, high. So here 25, 20. Okay. So 1 to 5 is a low risk. Medium risk 5 to 15. Then 15 to 25. So low 1 to 5, 5 to 15 medium, then high 15 to 25 is high. So here also this risk level is high. So identify hazards, decide who might be harmed, evaluate the risk levels and hierarchy of the control measures, record timeline and implement the risk assessments. Finally, review and update the risk assessments when the environmental change, when the machineries change, process change. This time also risk assessments updated, reviewed and updated based on the new hazards and the new risk levels. So this is the basic steps for the risk assessment. 5 steps of risk assessments. So if you have any doubt, give a comments for that. I hope everyone you understand the 5 steps of risk assessments. You can watch all the health, safety and environment videos in this HSE Mindset channel. Is there in the Play Store and also in video section and live section also. There are a lot of videos available. Go through it, support this channel, subscribe it, share it, like it. Always we require your support for this channel. Continuous regular HSE live sessions are there. Visit and get the more information, get the more updates. Thank you very much.